Yeah. Peace, everybody. I'm doing this video about how we have been deceived to celebrate 4th of July, Independence Day, the independence of our oppressors from their oppressors. And when they got independence from their oppressors, the so-called British, they instituted laws and codes, policies to disenfranchise, to enslave the so-called Moorish people, which became the Negro, which became the so-called nigger in the derogatory sense, which became the African American. This attempt and attack of stripping these people of their history, their heritage, their birthright, have been a concerted effort for over 200 years. And the collective hypnosis that we're under, it begins with the television. The first, one of the first introductions to the outside world that a child gets is through television programming, cartoons, but that is very limited because the program only have a limited amount of time to convey that particular message. So when they're talking about Christopher Columbus being your founding father who discovered America, talk about George Washington. When you look at Christopher Columbus and George Washington, that is over 300 years of separation. They never talk about what happened before. I mean, within the confines of those 300 years from 1492 to 1792, because the United States allegedly got their independence in 1787. I think 1783 to 1787. That's when they allegedly got their independence. And they had the ordinance of 1787, 2 years before the United States Constitution was adopted in 1789, which gave them the instructions on how to establish governments outside the 13 colonies, which involved robbing the Indians of their territory in various ways, one including getting permission from the Indians. Another, the most popular, was to wage war, so-called just wars against the Indians. And when they did that, they weren't required to pay any money to the Indians. But the so-called Negro, the Moor, is not really taught this information until they reach the later years of their life, once they escaped the indoctrination of school, elementary, high school, college. Once they escape all of those indoctrinations, they begin to learn about the true history. And by that time, they're already stuck in their traditions and their ways, because every year, continuously, we're forced to practice the celebration of Independence Day, 4th of July. And most of our so-called people, be it ignorance, be it cowardice, for whatever reason, they participate in it as though this is your independence. These are your founding fathers who acquired this independence. Paul Revere is your founding father. Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, we're fighting for you. You don't know about, and we know about Crispus Attucks, the so-called Negro, who the first person to die fighting for the Caucasians uh, independence because they allegedly told the so-called Negro they will also be free if they fought the American Revolution. But as we know, this wasn't the case. This was the deception. And at the same time of the American Revolution, we had so-called Negroes, Moors, designing and establishing cities in this so-called United States. Before it was called the United States, Indian Territory. Uh, the most recent in the Chicago area, Lakeshore Drive was just renamed after John Baptiste Pont de Sable, an anomaly, a Negro who established one of the biggest cities on earth. He didn't establish it. He was just the so-called non-indigenous settler who was accepted, who actually married an indigenous woman, a Potawatomi. But little is known about his life, his lifestyle, his origins, other than that he is of alleged Haitian descent. When we look at the history of the so-called Negro and our so-called independence, our history is not really taught prior to uh, 1619 when they supposedly brought the Negro to America from Africa to be slaves in Virginia. This is what they teach. But the Negro, when you look at the word, the root of Negro is NEG, something that is negative. NEG. We know that the G represents uh, something that is static, something that is grounded, something that is anchored. Because the Moors were seafarers. And a G is actually an O. And then when you look at electronics, you have two principles. You have a positive and a negative charge. The so-called negative, which is the right there, is the so-called ground, which is grounded to the, which is stationary, grounded to the earth or grounded to the metal of the object. And you have the forward motion, and you can look at the O and the G. In computer science, it's a I and a O. Input, output, receiving and sending. With this G is the so-called negative charge, or the ground. If you want to stop your anchor your ship in the ocean, you got to drop that ground. You got to drop that anchor. But you could always pull that anchor up. And the anchor, once the anchor is pulled up and you put up them sails, like right here, pull up them sails, then you're back in motion. M-O, motion. The root word of move. Let me get back to this right here. Let me hide this. Let me get back to the typing aspect. The root word of move is motion. Forward or backwards motion. Emotion. Internal motion. Watch this. Hold on. The Moor was a people of motion, action, and authority. But we don't celebrate the victory of the Moor. See right here, MOV. This is forward inertia or backwards inertia, but physical action And in Hebrew, the V is actually a B. Turn it to M. Now we got this Captain Hook and Moby. M-O-B, watch this. M-O-B. M-O. M-O-B-E. Moby. Where do we hear that from? But we turn this to right here, put the L right there. L. Mobile. Or mobile. This is us. Mobile. Move. Mobile. But the V is a B in the Hebrew, Yiddish. So they say V or Abraham with the V, because a V is a B and a B is a V. But it has the same connotation to move. Automobile, mobile, but it's the M-O. The M-O. But the M-O is really the N-E. N-E. G. Because a G becomes a O. It transforms once you pull up the anchor point, and you could tell when you look at the so-called lowercase, which is the original alphabet. N-E. Hold on. N-E-G. Look at that. And let me put this O. This is a O with an anchor, anchored into the water or anchored into the ground. But it's an anchor to keep you from moving, keep you stationary. But this is what happened. This is what happened to the Moor. They kept us from moving forward in our forward progress of a civilization. Our ability to move have been anchored and stopped. This is what these two G's represent. And this is our severance. We're not able to, we gotta put this seal back up in order to have the ability to forward and backward movement. Right here, we're crippled. We have been crippled. Negative. But the indoctrination has been happening due to the fact that the so-called Negro don't know exactly who they are, because they spend 20, 30 years of their life being deceived into believing that they are free, that they are independent, they have rights, but they really don't. You really don't. You don't really have the ability to educate your own children unless you go to a private school. And most of it is a situation in which it's voluntary. The so-called Negro voluntarily empower the so-called enemy by putting their money, resources, even participating in this, spending money on barbecue, spending money to celebrate your oppressor's autonomy over you. Because we got to ask the question. Even Abraham Lincoln used to defend Negroes by claiming that they were actually Moors. Therefore, they were above the law. They must be free because they're Moors. And the United States government agreed in the so-called Treaty of Peace and Friendship with Morocco that the Moors would be sovereign in the so-called United States. Let me get that. 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 I gotta turn my internet on. Hold on. Hold on. All right. All right. The Moroccan American Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Here we go. Here we go right here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna get that word. Let me search. Hold on. Here we go right here. If any more, see they changed it right here. Actually, they didn't. If any more shall bring citizens to the United States or their effects to His Majesty, the citizen shall immediately be set at liberty and the effect restored and is like in like manner. If any more not a subject of these dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects and bring them into any of the ports of His Majesty, they shall be immediately released, as they will then be considered as under His Majesty protection. So they say if any more shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to His Majesty, meaning if a more bring a slave from the United States, the citizen shall be immediately set free, and it was vice versa. Moors and Christians. This is the word that described the so-called Negro before the United States even existed. This was the Moor. But they don't teach you about the Moor. And it was Morocco who actually recognized the United States as a sovereign to even legitimize their freedom from the United States, from Britain. It say, if a citizen of the United States shall kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered. The counsel assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the counsel shall not be answerable for him in any manner whatsoever. So this is what Lincoln was about. The Moor had the right to kill for his freedom and to be set free. Lincoln identified the Negro as a Moor. Watch this. Look, Lincoln defends Moore. William Dundry and Joseph Spencer case. William Dungey versus Joseph Spencer case, a time when President Abraham Lincoln was a trial lawyer and argued for the Moor, William Dungey, and won the case. Because United States law is rooted on their treaty with Morocco, the Moors. Hold on. Let me search. Argue for the Moor, William Dungey. Let me get down there. See right here, they got the E. See, you could have the E also. Lincoln filed his declaration charging Joseph Spencer with slander on April 17, 1855, and sought 1,000 in damages. A game of legal chess occurred during the first hearing in May. Spencer's attorney, oh, that was the name of that dude. Funny how the attorney was named Moore. My client is not a Negro, though it is a crime to be a Negro. No crime to be born with black skin. My client is not a Negro. His skin may not be as white as ours, but I say he is not a Negro, though he may be a Moor. Mr. Lincoln interrupted. Hold on. His skin may not be as white as ours, but I say he is not a Negro, though he may be a Moor. And then Mr. Lincoln interrupted Judge Davis, scarcely able to restrain a smile. You mean a Moor, not Moore? Well, Your Honor, Moore, not C.H. Moore, replied Mr. Lincoln, with a sweep of his long arm toward the table where Moore and I sat. I say my client may be a Moor, but he is not a Negro. See, even Lincoln knew it was a deception, because Negro is a Moor. It's semantics. When you look at the origin and the root words of this, and you look at the origin of the G, how the G and the O is the same principle. They call it, yeah. But Lincoln actually defended this guy, saying that he is a Moor and he's under this law, this treaty. He must be let free. Hold on. To Lincoln, regardless of Dungey's skin color, his Portuguese or Moorish ancestry gave Dungey legal and social rights in the community, state, and the country. So Dungey was a black Portuguese Moor. Where is this history? Where is this independence? Where is this Independence Day? We don't even celebrate the Negro history, because the Negro history is ingrained in the so-called Moorish history, because the Moor preceded the Negro. Hold on, let me go back. See what I'm saying? Let me search this. Moorish history. Let me go back. Let me go back to these images. It seemed like they were Carthaginians. It seemed like they were very powerful people. Islamic, the Moors. Look at this. This is the history that you don't know about. Look at this architecture. That's the history you don't know about. That you don't celebrate. You don't celebrate. You don't study. You don't learn. All you know about is Paul Revere. The British are coming. 4th of July. White Zaddy. Who was this? Moorish Black King of India. These are kings of India. Hold on, let me get this. I ain't got it over. Hold on. Oh, this ain't mad. This is messed up right here. I see what's going on. But pretty much, this history is not really discussed during Independence Day. It's not discussed. Oh, I messed up. I'll just do that. Keep it like that. Hold on. I can do that. Just want to get accurate searches. Alright, I got it. Okay. Now this is the history that should be celebrated by the so-called Negro. Look at this Moorish building. Looks very modern. Hold on. Let me type in. Look at this building right here. Look at this massive, splendorous architecture. Glorious architecture. Where's the images? Look at these. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this architecture. I read this book right here. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. This book. I read this book. Let me write it. Let me type in Negro history. This is Negro history, 1952. You got Frederick Douglass, Negro History Week, Carter G. Woodson, but it deals with a time period, particularly in the 1900s and 1800s, but it doesn't really cover time dealing with the 1700s and prior. It's very contemporary history, but it's longer. It has more depth than African American history, which is like the 1980s up until today. It's 40 years. But the Moorish history is thousands and thousands of years old. And then we have Carthage. See your history. We've been chopped up so much. Need one universal word. One universal word. So you can just have one history. But everybody have really failed. Look at that. You could tell when they try to break the nose or something to hide them features. Hide that ethnicity. Break that nose. They break that nose. See, they break that nose. They destroy that nose. You got the beards, the lips, the hair, the naps, the dreads. They actually was the ones who had toys. It's funny. They were the first one to invent these figures. Phoenician glass pendant. Straight up Negroes. But you don't know nothing about this. You too busy studying celebrating 4th of July. You don't know nothing about this. You don't study nothing like this. Who is this supposed to be? Hannibal Barker. They're trying to make him into a Caucasian. They're trying to make everybody into a Caucasian. It's very disturbing. This is the funniest thing though. These toys they created, and the so-called black people right now do not make any money. Look at this black man, Carthaginian, Phoenician jewelry. Look at this. You gonna tell me this is a so-called white man? We don't even have access to our own relics, historical relics. Look at these braids. Look at these dreads, these dread styles. They want to force themselves into Phoenician history. Look at this. Is this a white man? Phoenician infantryman Juan Francis. Is this a white man? Is that a Caucasian? Or is that a Negro? Or is that a Moor? Or back then he's a Phoenician. But yeah, I'm talking about this deception, this false history, this practices we're celebrating our oppressors' domination over us. That's all Fourth of July represents. Because the person who was actually dominated after Independence Day wasn't the British, it was the Negro. The British wasn't the one didn't suffer after the Fourth of July. The Negro was suffered after Fourth of July. Banking, trade, and commerce in ancient Phoenicia. Back then, the so-called Negro had banking, trade, and commerce. Where's the banks now? Where's the banking now? We invented banking, trade, and commerce. Look at this building. This is a bank. It's an ancient bank. Commerce, trade. But right now, where's the trade and commerce? Look at this. They try to look at Ibiza. That's our island, Ibiza, that they stole. They still over there living lavishly in our island, Ibiza. Hold on. Egypt, Africa. We're just the same. They try to say Egypt is different from Africa. This is crazy, man. These people out their minds. They got U.S. Bank. Y'all want to see that crap? Hold on. Yeah, y'all brainwashed. Y'all are brainwashed. That's Justine. What is he in here for? He ain't got nothing to do with ancient Phoenicia. He's a Roman. Justinian. What he got to do with the Phoenicians? Nothing. I want to get to that map though. Where that map go to? It messed up. Sabotaged. Look at them lips. Look at them lips. Look at them lips. Tanut, a Phoenician goddess. You don't even study. You don't know nothing. See, the thing is this, right? The Negroes' ancient history is not lost. It's that the Caucasians are claiming it. They're claiming it as their own when they have absolutely nothing to do with it. Justinian's African War of 533 AD, the Byzantine recapture of Carthage. Most of the ancient so-called Roman history took place in Africa. Ancient Rome's fascination with Egyptian monuments. It's like a city. This is like Chicago. Hold on. Let me go back to. Hold on. This thing is all messed up. It's all messed up. Man, they got my. Well, they got me all messed up. I need this. I need people to be able to see. Need to be able to see. Okay. They were excavating the foundations of our old buildings. Those weasel Caucasians. Looking at our ancient coins. Ra. get this up out of here. Justine. This ain't got nothing to do with the Phoenicians. Hold on, I'm gonna go back. I need that map. I need that map. I need that map. Hold on, I need that map. I need this map right here. No, I need that map. I need this map. Because what has to happen is we have to reclaim all of this property. It has to be reclaimed. It has to be reclaimed. Oh, that's it right there. That's that map I was talking about. And that's our islands. They over there living lavishly. The turn of the 12th century BC in the Eastern Mediterranean was a turbulent time, to say the least, because of the reasons unknown. Numerous tribes of barbarian seafarers. So the Carthaginian was barbarian seafarers, huh? Were ejected from their homes in North Aegean around 1200. The tribes formed a confederation and came sweeping into the Anatolia and the Near East on a bloodthirsty rampage. The Caucasians, they got nothing to do with none of this history. Nothing to do with it. It's not their history. It's not their history. They think they're the authority on your history. Your people's history. They're the authorities on it. Discussing your ancient relics, your cities, your technology. What they want to call you a nigger, a Negro. Then chopped you off from your ancient roots. Black. Phoenicians, black Phoenicians. This is a study just neglected for too long. Phoenician Moors. Phoenix Moors. It's really Phoenix. See, the Phoenix Moors. The Phoenicians and the Phoenix Moors. So who really were these people called Phoenicians? The ancient Phoenicians were Moors, or a majority of highly melanated or dark-skinned people, and a mixture of some less melanated people, whose empire spanned from about 1500 BC to 300 BC. This former world superpower origins began in ancient Canaan, or in what is now known as Lebanon. Look at these toys. They was popular in making these toys, though. These figures. That's what's that lady name? Charlotte, Queen Charlotte with the braids. A Portuguese Moor. But the Phoenix Moors, that's it right there. And that's why I'm gonna end it. You don't know nothing about the Phoenix Moors. When they use the word Punic Wars, they done mingled the word Punic, but it's really Phoenix. And they say the Phoenix will rise again. But that's about it, though. I'm gonna end it right